day, viewers around the world. You are tuned in to our Monday update program, Between the Lines. Between the Lines is our program, SSM News Echoes Monday, and it's raining, it's dark here in Milan, Italy. I don't know how it is with my colleagues in the other part of the world. Joining me for Between the Lines, George Chuku from Toronto, Canada. How are you, George?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm good, George.
All right. Massimo. No. It's dry and it's about 8 degrees here in Toronto, Canada. It's beautiful weather for this time of the year, so we're enjoying it.
Nice. We are.
Yes.
It's wet here, but it's all good. It's all beautiful. Joining us in faraway Lagos, Nigeria, is our man coordinator Olayinka Raji. Raji, how are you today?
I'm very well. Good evening.
Good evening, Raji.
Yes.
You're welcome. Gentlemen, like we say here, news happen every minute, every second, every time. Something is popping up from different parts of the world. But what we do is just look out for some of those major ones, little of them, and run through. So you guys are welcome. Between the lines, a lot of things are shaking up. U.S. Army man sets himself ablaze outside the Israel embassy in Washington, protesting the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. George, I know you're following that. We just got the news that Aaron Bushnell, the 5-year-old young man, was rushed to the hospital on Sunday with life-threatening injuries, but few hours it's been confirmed that he's dead. He live streamed himself as a protest of the Israel military action in Gaza. And this is some very sad news. Gentlemen, let me open to you. But before I come to you guys, let's also put on the frame the only female in the house, our diva, Fiona Akuno. Fiona, you're welcome.
Hello. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Fiona. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Thank you for making us look good.
Yes, making us look good.
With a dash of red.
That's right.
Of course.
All right, gentlemen. Fiona, everybody, events are happening. Now, who's following this thing? The man filmed himself, live streamed himself in his protest of Israel action in Gaza, but sadly he has passed on. That's Bushnell, 25-year-old American soldier. Who's following this?
Well, I've been following that thing for a while, and it is such a very unfortunate incident. But when situations like this, take place, it is very important that we look deeper into the reasonings behind such action, because it's not. I wouldn't consider him to be mentally stable. I believe that this might be part of what could be depression, or deep belief in certain things that is not well balanced. Because normal people would not just go and commit suicide like this. So I was hoping that he would have survived this and received some mental assessment, based on what's going on. Most of these people that go to war, what they see sometimes, like people in the force, like police officers that are the first responders, they go through a lot of psychological trauma through what they see. Yes. So, and this is something that needs to be, really discussed, because for such a thing to take place, okay, now he's dead. Then what? Israel is not stopping the war. Right now, they're still striking Gaza, but he's dead. That statement he was supposed to have been making, he could have been alive and then continue to enforce his belief system and make an impact that cannot be raised. Now he's dead. Prigozhin is dead. And all these other people that want to do whatever they want to do, they're dead and they're not speaking anymore. So I just, my condolences to the family. And I hope that they will take this thing with a grain of salt. And for those soldiers that are out there participating in the war, we just pray that if you're going through any mental situation, please, seek help. because this type of sudden death is not good, not at all.
Thank you, George. Before I come to Fiona, Raji,
yes, sir.
The situation is not looking good at all. Now, the man dressed in his we call it fatigue uniform, and he identified himself as an Air Force officer. In fact, what people did was check on his social handles and everything. And he's such a genius, Raji. I'm putting this to you. You know, the guy is a software engineer, and he has done some pretty good thing being in the army, in the Air Force. So how do you see this? You as an electrical engineer yourself, I mean, how will you take your life?
Like Sir George mentioned, these combat people go through a lot of serious mental trauma. PTSD is rampant among them. By the time they come back from military posting, they are completely destroyed mentally because of the things they see at such a young age. You know, like George rightly mentioned, it takes a certain level of psychiatric or mental state for a person to douse himself with benzene and set fire to himself for a political cause. I don't have that kind of conviction. I can't do it. I can't do it. So I can't even imagine the mental state he was in for such a very, very brilliant software engineer to push himself to that level. You know, rationally, as mentioned earlier, he's dead now. Whatever he could have said, is now gone with him. He's dead. His death does not change the situation at all. Because those guys in the Israeli guys are bent on clearing the whole of Gaza, come rain or shine. They are going against international outcry. So how much more a feeble cry of one person? It's like a drop in the ocean.
It's
I'm
like
very sorry for his death.
It's like a drop in the
ocean. A drop of water in the ocean. Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't make
Thank
much.
you very much. It's a sad thing. Fiona, do you want to say anything? The man took his camera, set it very well, right at the gate of the Israeli embassy, put the camera down, took the chemical and doused himself with that liquid from that metal bottle. And he was yelling, "Free Palestinians, free Palestinians," until he fell to the ground. I mean, is that a way to protest? But it worked anyway, George and Raji, before China comes in, it worked in the Arab Spring. Remember the Moroccan hawker that did similar things? Yes, and that sparked off that protest in the not part of.
And what was the end of the whole protest?
Okay. All right, Fiona, let's hear you. What's your take on this?
I mean, I think first of all, of course, I mean, we mustn't underplay the fact that somebody has lost his life. So, you know, rest in peace, Aaron Bushnell, and obviously our condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones of the officer. So that's the first thing. It's really unfortunate when people feel that they have to deal with a point of view in this extremist sort of way. I align with what the two gentlemen that just spoke before me said, that this has to be a mental health crisis that was playing out in front of us, because it's very unlikely that anybody in their right mind would actually pour some kind of incendiary liquid on themselves and set fire to themselves. It's not a rational thinking thing that somebody would do. So I mean, I think for me, the core underlying thing is that this mental health issues that people have, especially when they come out of
combat,
come out of combat and come out of institutions, really, I think it's something that probably needs to be examined a bit closer. In terms of furthering his cause, my personal feeling is that yes, he may appear to be a martyr to one certain faction, you know, in this war, but actually I'm not sure that it has any far-reaching or deep impact on the situation as it currently stands.
That's another point of view there. Okay, gentlemen, you know, in the line, we have that limited time. So let's just run through some of the things making waves. There's this story, Fiona, I know you're following up with that too. You told me earlier. There's the story of the gifted private school boy, smart boy, 16-year-old, and he killed himself too. So I think yesterday has been killing. And Fiona was telling me every 1 hour in the UK, somebody is killing themselves. So this young man killed himself, and he says he's been blackmailed by a scammer over his nude photos. Gentlemen, this is where we find ourselves. People are blackmailing people with nude photos. Let's hear George. George, this happened right where Fiona is, behind me now. And sad.
It is a sad situation, actually. And sometimes people might find themselves in a position where they feel like there is no way out, boxed in. And the only way out of that particular possible shameful situation would be to just take their own lives. But it also runs into that aspect on the two sides of the whole equation. The people that are doing such atrocities, you know, causing people harm, money, or trying to extract money from people. You know, that's what I believe that some of these guys has been arrested, if I'm not mistaken, from the news the updates that I received. But they need to be prosecuted to the farthest extent of the law. Make sure that they are punished, to teach other people a lesson. There are boundaries to things that people can do and get away with it. And life is now lost, and the family is suffering the whole consequences. So where is that money going to come from anymore? You know, this is one of those problems that we've been facing in the media, where opportunities are given for things that are good, you know, technologically, but some people, the only thing they can do is to find a way to use it, you know, selfishly to their own advantage by extracting money from people. Look at the young man, bright young man that just died unnecessarily because of what? It doesn't make any sense, you know. And this young man, possibly the only reason why he did this was the possibility of such a thing coming out, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's thinking his future is ended. It's such a sad situation. This thing needs to be, we're going to go to the root causes of it. The people that are doing this, use that technology to find them and make sure that they are punished to the full extent of the law.
Thank you. Raji, they say it's Nigerian scammers on the news. Yes, Nigerian scammers want to blackmail the man for £100, £100. So the straight
just £100
student. So what do you say? Nigerian scammers.
I recall a similar case that happened with a young guy in the US. The two scammers have been arrested. They were arrested and extradited to the United States, and I'm sure they are serving jail terms now.
Okay, those are two others. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not related to this particular story?
No, it's not. It's not related to this.
Okay, beautiful.
That was sometimes in 2022. It's such a. We also have to train our children, tell our youths. It doesn't pay for you to expose yourself and to put private pictures on the.
Fiona's hands are up. Fiona.
Okay.
Okay.
So first of all, I mean, this happened a while back. I mean, for me, this story really touches me because my son actually went to the school. My son actually started the school at the age of 10, and he did all the way till he finished his A-levels before he went to university. So I know the sort of background and home that this young man would have come from. These are parents who are probably very aspirational. So I can't even imagine what this feels like. I think, I mean, and my condolences will continue to go to the family. I think for me, I mean, interestingly, this conversation about this sort of thing, because this sort of thing has happened before, where somebody was being blackmailed and started stealing, and in the end killed themselves because of this fear. And a conversation that I had with my son, and it's a conversation that I would encourage people to have with their children. What I said to him was, if at any time you're sending any image of yourself or anything to anybody, just imagine you're sending it to me. And know this, that there is nothing about you that I will see that I've never seen before. So don't ever feel that you're too ashamed or too embarrassed to come and tell me anything, regardless of what it is. The fact of the matter is that if someone has shared their nude form out there, there are thousands and millions of nude forms out there. It must not be the thing that cripples anybody into this amount of fear. The human form is what it is. It's a natural thing. And the power has to be taken away from people so that this is not a thing. I feel that in schools, anybody who is found to be distributing this sort of images or making fun, they really need to be handled with really firm hands so that it takes away the power to be able to make this into a thing. Of course, I can imagine he was afraid with the kind of results, he was probably thinking, if not Cambridge, Oxford, at least one of the top 10 universities. And I can imagine also the pressure of probably coming from a very decent home, parents finding out about this kind of thing. But the way I look at it is, it's just a naked body. It's not something that none of us have seen before. And I think getting that message to drill down into people that actually, it's actually not that. If that's the worst thing that's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. I don't think anybody's life is worth that. So I think that message and that education and a firm hand on youths, youngsters who make fun of anybody that may have fallen into this trap. I think those sort of things, and actually not re-victimizing the victim, because somebody's naked image has appeared somewhere should not be the reason why they're not able to achieve especially if they have the ability to achieve it. So I think there's so many things that underpin this particular sad event. And, I just hope that the people that are behind it are brought to book. I'm not sure that anybody has been found
apprehended
behind the scenes of this, but I really hope that they are found, and that they are, as Sir George said, that to the full extent of the law that they handled with that. So yeah.
To the full extent of the law they handled. The young man did a very some strange thing too. He recorded himself sending a message to the father and the mother, and told his brother, look after mom and dad. And Daniel the Alus took his life. Sad. Our condolence to that family. Now, while we were saying this, our man in Moscow, Russia, has joined us. Godwin Ibe, you're welcome to Between the Lines. Viewers, you are watching Between the Lines, and we are looking at the lines. Yes, there are lines up to events. A lot of things are happening.
Thank
Godwin,
you so much for having me. Thank you, viewers.
Welcome, Dr. Godwin.
Okay,
You
while
and
Godwin
Between
joins
the
us,
Lines.
we're coming back home a little. Something happened today. There is that organization we all know, IPOB. IPOB is that organization is from Southeast Nigeria. And today there was some occurrence, some actions going in the courtroom. The leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, changed his legal team. But trial still continues. And the new team now had to bring in some new arrangements. Now, we all know the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, that leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, that's what they are called, has resumed this week in Abuja. And we are hoping that some things might happen. So, guys, what do you have? Let's run a story. That's what's happening there is he had some visitors also. There weren't just lawyers, there were clergymen, there were kings, chiefs, and rulers, head of the traditional people, from the southeast of Nigeria visited, and there was that exchange of legal team from Mike Zuckerman, who has been representing him, to now Emeka Ejiofor, who will be his new head of council, legal counsel. So that's what we're seeing there. George, I know you have had some encounter with this group and these people. So what's your views on this? Will this new change bring usher in his release? Because tongues are waggling. People are saying, listen, this one is out, this one is out, that one is out. I mean, let's release Nnamdi Kanu too.
It's just, it boils down to the same question. Are we considered, is the whole Nigeria, we're operating from the same playing field? Are some people considered to be, mentally marginalized or physically marginalized when it comes to politics and everything else in our country? So the point is this guy has been, he was actually kidnapped from Kenya. Basically, that's all it was, and we know that, people like him, that has done worse than what they're claiming he did. They're out there on the streets. There's some of them are on bail. Why can't you give this young man, at least, even if it's house arrest, while his thing is going on? This is nothing but absolute unacceptable political move by Buhari and his team. It is not supposed to be that way. Okay, court grants him bail. They won't let him go. They keep on just playing around with, all kinds of technicality, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This is a full citizen of Nigeria, and this young man, a British citizen also. The reason why he's still alive today is because of that blue passport. If it wasn't because he had that blue passport, Buhari would have, gotten rid of this guy in the ocean. And that's the reason why he's still there. Why are they holding him? Charge him, imprison him if you want to, but don't hold him indefinitely like this, because it's unfair. It's unfair. I do not like it. Not that I accept everything that he did when he was out, but yet why are you holding the young man and refusing the law, to be applied, or justice to be applied in his favor? If the court granted him bail, why are you still holding him? Why is that so? Because if this person was from the north, they would have said, oh, he's rehabilitated, put him back into the force, or put him back on the street. Just simply because he's an Igbo man, that's the reason why they're doing this. And they need to stop it.
I think somebody has a different opinion. Let's hear what Tunji Olayinka will say. Olayinka, do you think it's because he's from a region in Nigeria that is being treated in a different way? Olayinka?
Well, you'll be quite surprised about my views. One, I do not think that the proscription of IPOB was justifiable, because IPOB had not done as bad as Boko Haram has done, and yet IPOB was proscribed. Two, I don't like to put whatever ethnicity in all these things, but I want to point out straight that as far as most of the Fulani North is concerned, the Southeast is a conquered territory as a result of the civil war. It's a conquered territory, and it's assumed to be so. And therefore, whatever they do, because in the East is where you have the highest number of roadblocks, even much more than inside Boko Haram territory. But the reason why they are keeping him, I do not know. And I also do not believe that I do not accept that he should have been kidnapped, and therefore the Kenyan government should actually be to be held responsible for that, because it was against international law for them to have been kidnapped, for him to have been kidnapped from Kenya and to be brought in. But the reason why he was kidnapped was because he jumped bail, and therefore you cannot come to equity with your hands not so clean.
You cannot come to equity with your hands not so clean. Okay, Kanu has been in custody in the DSS department for, I think it's since 2020.
Sorry, he's looking quite fresh. I hope I'll be put into that kind of restriction, and then I'm sure I'll be.
Be careful what you pray for. Be careful what you pray for.
Yeah.
Be careful what you pray for. Please.
Be careful what you pray for. Okay. What's your view? He has changed lawyers now, and the lead counsel is now Emeka Ejiofor. And do you think are there hopes for his release with change of legal team?
I never had too much hope in Zekomi, because I see him as he makes too much noise. He makes too much noise. Yes, and I think
the message was for Godwin.
Sorry.
It was for Godwin. Godwin was being asked.
Yeah,
okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No problem. I always like tapping from the wisdom of the panel. You know, what everyone has said is I kind of agree with them, but I would like to say that I don't know the full circumstances for which you change the lawyer, but for me, looking from the outside with limited knowledge, it seems like a waste of time. The reason he's in jail has nothing to do with the strength of the legal team. The reason he's in jail is just contempt and gross violation of the law. I mean, the judges who decide on the case can be put in jail the moment they just announce the judgment. So their lives are always at risk, and they fear for their lives. The DSS can just come in while the judge is about to make a decision and say, okay, shut up, I don't want the judgment anymore, you know, and just take everybody away. So it's
Godwin, while you're still talking, it's good to have your views, because you were like a major outlet to the news of the young man that set himself on fire and now he's dead. I want to put it to you. How do you see that? Does that send a message? He set himself on fire.
I'm jumping from one question to another. I haven't finished. Yes, this, but I think that my point is that he was not there because of the strength of the legal team, but because of the the environment and the lack of respect for due process and lack of judicial authority. But also I cannot not include the lack of unity among the Southeasterners and the seemingly failure to negotiate as much as the Yorubas did for their guy. And the divide and conquer approach has, I mean, for the, what's his name? Is it
Igboho?
Igboho, yes. The lack of the divide and conquer approach has been working in the Southeast. It's been easy to divide us from factions and rule us differently. We need also in the Southeast needs more unity in terms of speaking one voice and having a more leverage for negotiation. I also want to add to what Sir George said. The passport, I don't think the passport is just something nice to have, something to consider, but it's not strong enough factor not to waste him if they wanted to. He didn't save Gonzalo Lira, that one I'm setting in Ukraine. He didn't save. It's not saving Julian Assange right now, rotting in the British jail, and it definitely didn't save all people who died in January 6th Capitol Hill insurrection. So it's a nice to have, but it's not only the major thing. If he's not of political utility to the geopolitical powers, you know, they will say, okay, well, you can go ahead, whatever I want to do with the guy. Okay. Yeah. So concerning the death of the American soldier, it's very, very sad. It shows a lack of unity among the military ranks, and not everyone is happy with the constant bombing of children and women and innocent civilians in Gaza. And maybe it's a sad relief that somebody at least from the ranks of the military is speaking out. But it does little to move the cause forward because I mean, the brutality. I don't think the killing. He has removed himself from the equation, but he's replaceable. So I'm not sure it will stop the killings in Gaza. I hope that stops.
Thank you.
Because it's really
Thank you.
sad.
I wanted us to just take it boom, 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 because of our time. Gentlemen and viewers, yes, we're tuned in to Between the Lines Monday. Something very sad also happened in Burkina Faso. Now we're putting a satellite to Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, yesterday, while people were in church praying, 15 people were killed. I hope you guys are following that story. 15 people were killed and many others injured following an attack in a church in the northeastern Burkina Faso yesterday. A lot of things are still going on. People are investigating what's happening, but somebody said it's an Islamic militant attack. Now, why will people come to a church and kill people worshiping their God and just take them out like that? For what reason? George, we used to have reverence for church, for worship places. You know, in Italy, if the police is chasing a mafia, this is a story that's real. If the police or the law is chasing a mafia, somebody that has broken the law, and he runs into the church, this worship place, they stand outside and wait for that person until he comes out.
Sanctuary. It's a sanctuary.
Yes, sanctuary. So, I mean, that's how reverent, that's how respected sanctuaries are. But now people go in. We remember the one that happened in Ondo State, different parts of Nigeria. It has happened. So, George, what do you say? What's this?
Well, it's you know, in a world like what we have, you will have extremists. It's very, very unfortunate that we have no respect whatsoever for what is really happening. You see this extremism, like in other parts of like let's say for instance between Christianity and the Muslim religion. When you really think about it, the Muslim religion usually they join politics with their religion and they teach their children certain things, and that's the reason why you start seeing something like this happening, because they communicate history to them and they teach hate to some of these young people, whereby they just buy into it. And I'm going to use this as a narrative to what just happened with a Muslim cleric coming out and saying that we should the first lady of Nigeria should be killed. These are the things that they do and they teach them. And when these kids, they come out because an elder or somebody they respect is saying such a thing, they believe it. So, and that's the reason why I believe that this particular individual that just came out with such atrocious words from his mouth must be arrested. Because if this was from another part of the country in Nigeria, you would have seen DSS and every other law enforcement, pound upon that man already before we even know about it. But now, because he's from that area, they just, still dancing around with whether he should be arrested or not. These are the things that they're being taught in the mosques that now influences some of these kids. They go out there, they go, no respect for the law, no respect for churches, and they start doing things, like animals. That's what I call them, like, animals. Because anybody who will go into a church and start killing somebody who is worshiping their God with nothing whatsoever, no reason behind it, but just hatred. It's an animal. It's like a dog. Even dogs are trained better than that.
So I beg to disagree.
Okay.
Human beings are so arrogant as to think that animals are much less than them. I've never heard where an animal will go into a gathering and start killing other animals. So therefore, if human beings are going to talk about anything, let them use themselves as examples. Let them use themselves as examples. Now back to the issue at hand. I think what happens with most Islamic states is because there are some people who use that religion as a tool, a political tool, and therefore ensure that those who are following them are so ignorant as to believe whatever they tell them. I grew up as a Muslim, and I knew that where we grew up, if Christians or a group of people are passing before a mosque, they will stop their noise. If Muslims are approaching their church and they'll stop whatever they are doing and pass by the church before they start making raising their voice in such a way as to maybe disturb the service. But things keep going worse and worse and worse. Keep going worse and worse. But the problem is actually with the Islamic faith. There's so much ignorance in the lower levels, and it is deliberately kept so that those who are above can continuously use the people as fodder, so that whatever they want to do, they can do. I lived in Kanu for more than 5 years. The only time I'm afraid of going going into town is on Friday and after Jummah service. I had to ask a friend of mine, please tell me, what do they tell them in the mosque? That a group of people will leave a place of worship with evil intent in their hearts. Anytime there was going to be a riot in Kanu, it happens after Jummah service. Anytime. And I was taught that when you enter a place of worship, you enter with a clean heart and you come out reformed. But no, it seems to be, and people are taking advantage of the ignorance of their followers, and it is dastardly.
Thank you very much, Raji. This one.
Let's hear what Fiona is going to say about that.
Yes, Fiona. Let's hear Fiona. I mean, 15 people gone like that for no reason.
I mean, of course, as normal, our condolences to all their families and etc. I mean, it's also quite disappointing that in a country that has military rule at the moment, that there's almost a kind of anarchy going on there, because they're occupied. A third of the country is pretty much occupied at the moment by insurgents, and there doesn't seem to be anything that anybody can do to quell that. So if the military can't even stop that, I don't really understand it. Speaking to the religion, I think that any form of extremism is bad, regardless of what religion it is. And I think that sometimes when the doctrine is given in a certain way, these are the kind of outcomes that we can find. I align with what Sir Raji just said and what Sir George said, that really, if you teach hate, these are the kind of outcomes. These are the kind of outcomes that you will find. And I think it's just wholly disappointing, actually, that in a country that's being led by the military, that this can be happening, and it's not. I find it really difficult to understand how that is actually a status quo. I find it really difficult, and I know that there are 3 countries, that have now come out of ECOWAS and doing all this, and I just don't really understand how this can be what's happening to peace-loving people that are just going to church on a Sunday to be met with this kind of fate. It just speaks terribly to the quote-unquote government of the day. So yeah.
Good. You were able to note that that part of Burkina Faso is a border town with Mali. Yeah, that's Ugudaga, and it borders with Mali. So yes, there are some real knuckleheads.
Terrible experiences.
Godwin, are you with the Burkina Faso killing yesterday?
Yes. Of course I am, because I have the general picture, because Burkina Faso has been dealing with insurgency since 2015. But recently they began to be closer to Russia, and Russia is helping them now. Russia sent about 100 new advisors, instructors in 2024. I think the experience of Russia in dealing with soldiers is not doubted anywhere in the world. In Syria, when there was a lot of ISIS, America would say, "Oh, ISIS is this, ISIS is that. They are so wonderful. They are so caliphate. They controlled 95% of Syrian territory." Russia came in and said, "Well, okay, we're helping the government. Not only did the Syrian government win the war, but they reclaimed back over 95% of their territory, and now they are in total remission." I believe that with the help of Russia, Burkina Faso will get over this insurgency. Hit and run attacks, guerrilla attacks are things you cannot totally eliminate in the presence of Islamic insurgency. There will always be this guerrilla attack, but the point is to make sure they are not able to establish a territory. They're not able to establish an area that they control without a possibility of reconnaissance, surveillance, and stormtrooping. That's the most important thing, that they don't have a foothold in the country. And then you can deal with all these attacks. So Russia is helping them, and I believe my heart goes out to the families, of that's there that suffer these losses, and I hope that they get their acts together in terms of in the country.
Thank you very much. Viewers, you're still tuned into Between the Lines Monday today. We are giving those updates.
Sorry, can I just ask? I just wanted to ask Dr. Godwin something. Sorry,
Okay.
Dr. Godwin, I want to understand what you just said. You said something about taking a foothold. Can you explain that to me? So are you saying that the insurgents don't have a foothold in Burkina Faso? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying they do, and that is what is bad.
Okay.
When they had a foothold, like in Syria as well, occupying 95% of the territory.
I just wanted to understand.
Okay, gentlemen, let's comments are coming in, and viewers are online. Believe me. Peter Gross Jones says Zionism is Nazism. Israel Zionist Nazi wants to bankrupt American economically, morally, and destroy our democracy just because Zionist Israel rabbis and the Israel system and their intelligence use pedophiles, Epstein rings, and justify rape as a weapon of war. Disgusting Israel propaganda machinery wants us to believe that Palestinians are the same. Israel harbors and protects pedophiles who escape persecution from the West in turn, and we are employed by Israel intelligence set up strings operation. These are some long talk here, but Peter Jones, Gross Jones, that's your view. And yes, somehow you have your intelligence, you know what you're saying. Thank you very much for putting it in. Gentlemen, let's round up with something that Raji and I and Fiona were looking at earlier before coming on the screen. There was this young lady that was almost killed. Let's see a video. Because of time, let's come to it. Let's make it brief. Now, what you just saw, Raji, you were giving me some thoughts on that. What you just saw is a young lady. Go ahead, Raji. Okay.
You know, it's rather unfortunate. I was talking about ignorance. Ignorance. You know.
Let me explain to our viewers what the video is about. A young lady this morning. This is happening this morning. In Pakistan. Yes, they held her to behead her. She's there. The process, the knives and the cutlass and all those machete, they're all ready. But luckily for her, a policewoman came and took her off. Now, what is it? The dress she's wearing, as you could see, had some written symbols of some offensive words.
Nothing offensive.
But we don't know what
offensive.
Do you read Arabic? Do you read?
No, I said nothing offensive. Nothing. I was telling you that. Look, ignorance. You know, I'll tell you something. During the Gulf War, during the Gulf War, when Saddam Hussein comes on screen, NTA Kanu on screen, yes, and the people see the Arabic inscriptions on the screen, they start saying Ami, 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 because they believe that every Arabic inscription is from the Quran, and that is holy. What was on the lady's dress were just Arabic hieroglyphics. It says nothing about anybody, but just because of out of ignorance, he could have been killed. She could have been killed for blasphemy.
Let me just take this. Let me just take this. Listen to this though.
Yes.
Okay, I was in Nigeria one time, and I had a group of people with me. So we went to the marketplace because I wanted to show some of my colleagues, how Nigerian market works, and so they were very excited. But while we were there, a young lady who had on jeans, tight jeans on her, was about to enter one of these Okada motorcycle. And then some young boys started throwing things at her and cussing her out and just insulting. So I saw that and I couldn't contain it, because they kept on, trying to harass the young lady. So I went after them. So my question to them, why are you harassing her? Oh, look at what she got on. I said, would you rather that she have on a skirt and then you will have to open her leg while she's entering the motorcycle to ride, or that she have on a jeans that covers her whole entire body? Oh, God, we never saw it like that. Oh, I say, why don't you guys start seeing it that way? Because now it's ignorance, absolute ignorance, and it's stupidity in my own, where I see it. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
Sir
but
George,
somebody feels otherwise. Let's hear Fiona. Fiona says something else. Fiona, go ahead with your take on that.
So it's not that I feel otherwise. However, so she's not a visitor. She's from I presume she's a Pakistani lady.
Mm-hmm.
So she also says she's a Muslim, because I've listened to her. So she's a Muslim.
Yes.
So she knows that any kind of Arabic inscription or stuff like that is something that is almost worshipped. So she knows all these things as a fact. She knows. So I don't understand why that would be her choice. I'm not saying that people shouldn't wear what they want to do, but why would she choose something that's so controversial? And then when she was given an instruction to literally change into something else, knowing, see, if I was in England and somebody said that to me, I might react like, are you crazy? Absolutely not. I'm going to wear what I'm wearing. But when you know the gallery that you're singing to, you have to know the tune. You can't just go and just, so I'm not saying that it was right, and I'm not approving that she should have been beheaded, but I'm saying that she knows where she comes from. And I'm thinking,
in Rome, you dress like the Romans, yeah.
I'm just saying.
But that's true. You know what? It is true, though, because
it still boils down to the same ignorance.
Ignorance, culture and tradition. Culture and tradition.
Yeah, but wait a minute, guys. Look, we have to be very careful what we call ignorance. Yes, even collective ignorance. I mean, democracy, yeah, as is defined, is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. I mean, sovereignty implies that what the majority wants, you just have to respect it, right? You might educate them, you might say it's not ideologically not correct or politically incorrect, but the fact that whatever the majority wants, you have to respect it as their culture. The point is that the majority of them subscribe to that way of life. If they subscribe to that way of life, they even have it penned down in their constitution, or whether it's Sharia or not Sharia, then we as outsiders have no right to condemn or to dictate for them how they should live their life. The woman being there, first of all, we as outsiders can say, well, we would wish that they had a more open, but we have no right to dictate to them or to tell them how they should live their lives. I mean, I at the outside will also go further and say that, of course, we want women, we would prefer it to be nice if women had more freedom, more rights. Expression of femininity is actually positive for masculinity, and together we need each other to move the world forward. But if it's their way of life, we have to respect it as their culture, and we can't dictate to them how to live their lives.
Actually, look, see, all the inscriptions on her dress were just misconstrued to be some things, to be inscriptions from the Quran. They were not. They were, and the woman knows it. If she knew that it would be something that would put her in trouble, of course she won't just put it up. But they were accusing her of blasphemy.
Yes, they were.
Blasphemy is quite different from wearing a dress with Arabic inscriptions. Blasphemy is something you are spoken out. That impugns on the character or the integrity of their holy prophet.
Holy prophet.
Which is quite
did she have a husband or brother or?
No, there was nobody.
I understand women. I understand women.
She will have all that. Oh, gentlemen,
yes.
Gentlemen, beautiful. Between the lines. We went 10 minutes more. We will tell the network to add more time. Let's make it 1 hour straight up. But today, let's go out now. You have all said so well. There are other things to talk about. Godwin, you have some updates you want to run through?
No, I was just really curious. Like, why did he have to be a policeman, not her brother or father or husband? Policewoman. Why did he have to be a policewoman? Not her husband, brother, because I understand in Pakistan
will probably be scared to come at this center now.
The police came in to arrest the situation.
At that point is very dangerous. Anything can happen. You know, these are really chived up, aggrieved, bitter. You know, and
the police came to keep order.
Yeah, so the police had to come in. They are the only ones that can take control.
I will even go a step further to say that I'm even concerned for her safety even now, even though the event has moved on.
It's possible, yes.
I'm still concerned for her safety.
It's possible.
Fiona, that's another point. That's true.
The truth of the matter is that if they lock her up right now, I believe that it will be for her safety until everything dies down and they will release her, because they'll let her out. There are some extremists that are going after her, waiting to see when they will see her.
Her face was covered.
You know, and they would think that
they will know her.
They will know her. So they need to just take that woman out of that zone and just hide her for a while somewhere else, because this world we are living in right now is something else. Honestly speaking. By the way, what do you guys think about this Muslim cleric that is talking about that our first lady should be killed?
That guy should have been whisked out and imprisoned in seconds. I don't know why they are taking so long to arrest.
Because he's from the north. He's a Muslim. That's why they're taking so long. If it was otherwise, you would have seen what would have happened already. By now, before we even know about it, they have already locked him up, and then we'll hear the news, his news from behind the bars.
I remember one guy who tweeted about Buhari's wife getting too far.
A young boy.
Yes.
A young man.
I'm not even sure whether he's still not in prison now.
That's it. Exactly. So why are they now waiting?
Well, I don't understand.
And they make sure that they find that young man. They found him immediately and whipped him out, and that's it. And we haven't heard anything about that young boy up until today. So now, but this guy can come and talk this nonsense. Do you know this is actually putting that woman in danger? I'm serious.
Yes.
Putting that woman in danger.
We will get more time and talk more on all this. But I want to thank you all for coming. Between the Lines, Monday, 26 February 2027. And guess what, guys? Tomorrow is my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Fiona, can you say happy birthday to him before we leave? Fiona?
Okay, go ahead.
In Russia, we have a tradition. We don't sing before the day.
It's okay. The time zone, it doesn't matter. We are in different time zones.
No, we can't sing.
Because we'll be seeing on Wednesday.
Wednesday is better.
No, sing. At least let's
go. 1,
let's
2,
go.
3.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Some croaky voices.
Happy
Happy birthday, Mark. Happy birthday. It's a good thing to have an orchestra.
Do you see the problem? I asked Fiona to sing, and all of you start singing, messing up the whole entire program.
Some very croaky voices.
All right, listen, beautiful. Anyhow, the voice came. I appreciate this. Wonderful.
Happy birthday in advance, bro.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Fiona, for coming through from London, UK. Thank you, George, for coming Canada, Toronto, Canada. Godwin eBay, you're awesome.
All the way from Russia.
Yes, and our man Karaji from Lagos.
Thank you, man.
So until we come Wednesday on our midweek program, it's good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
We say arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
That's with Daniel, the stretching.
Okay, that's it. That's it.
Say that again in Russian.
That's with Daniel, is like goodbye. The stretch is to meet again.
Okay.